Washington, not for California.
After drying out and refueling in Te Araroa, we started our transition out of Southland and into Otago. Leaving Southland was like flipping a switch physically and mentally. Physically because the mountains were getting higher, the valleys broader, the lakes grander, and the forests more sparse. Mentally because we started feeling real confidence that everything we did in preparation was paying off. And we triumphed over the strength and morale grinder of the muddy, rainy, and road-walky first 11 days. Little did we know that we had the most polarized portions of the trail right in front of us. As our friend said, the TA can give you the best day of your life and the worst day of your life, all in a 12-hour period.
The way we wanted to hike the TA was taking shape once we started the Mavora Lakes section. Gone were the thoughts of purism as we realized road walking was not our thing. We started to think hard about the reasons for hiking alongside roads on trails that were washed out or unkept. So long story short, we embraced the New Zealand tradition of hitchhiking and were at peace with skipping unpleasant sections.
So, where to begin? The trail is hard.
It's very hard. Very beautiful too, but like anything you can think of except for snow, I feel like we've gone through it.
Yeah. It rained on us for 3 days straight, and so it just made everything more difficult.
Socks were always damp, clothes were always damp.
Oh, beyond damp. It was definitely the first time where I could not have any moment of dry feet for days. Just soaked completely, just like sloshing in the shoe. Like we read all the reviews, we watched videos, we knew this was gonna happen.
People gave us a heads up, but it's still really hard. There's no like
experiencing
1%
it for yourself. Yeah.
And to piggyback on damp clothes or wet clothes, it makes the funk linger longer. So when you're in a hut with people, what surprises me is everyone's BO collectively smells really similar. Like no matter what hut we were in, it smelled very similar.
I will say, while you're in the hut, you kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get out and get fresh air and come back in, you get slapped in the face. Yeah. Which is fine. That's not that big of a deal. We're still enjoying it.
Yeah.
So I will say too, some relationship advice on the trail. It's best to keep your meals separate. It relieves a lot of tension. So I can eat my meal within 10 minutes, and Sarah is going to spend her time preparing it and cleaning. And I just throw my stuff away. So that's just advice. Take it for what it's worth. We are going to get new backpacks. Yes. We ordered those. We found
We weren't expecting this, by the way.
No. We were keeping our options open. We're always reassessing our stuff. So we found a manufacturer of backpacks actually in Te Araroa. There's one guy running a shop, and he makes world-class backpacks. So lightweight, strong, pretty much everything you need in a backpack. And he spent 3 hours with us answering all of our questions, all of Sarah's questions.
Really patient, and he's not a sales pushy person. He's like, go home, think about it. He's very passionate, walks through the materials.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll put a link and whatever this is posted to.
Yeah.
Fjordland.
We hope to God it works out really well, because we obviously can't return it. Yeah. It's custom to our measurements, but it's like, what's interesting is it's similar price to like our packs, from outdoor shops like Gregory. Yeah. So
yeah, he took our measurements and he's making us a custom pack. It's the same cost as Gregory or Osprey.
And it's about 3 pounds lighter. Mine is.
Yeah, same here.
And that's about 1.5 kgs. We're still getting used to that.
Yep. And Fjordland Packs is the name of the place in Te Araroa, and he ships all over the world. Super nice guy. He's willing to walk you through anything on his website.
Yes.
He's got an Instagram with all the pictures, like very customizable colors, materials, like super cool. So we have that waiting for us in 2 weeks.
And then other lessons. If you haven't backpacked before, I know laundry days can suck, but just hug your washer and dryer. They're wonderful.
Yes.
They're not appreciated enough. It's really challenging and something I feel like we're pretty decent at. We have our moments, but we have everyone has different energies of like when you have your second wind and if it's harder for you in the morning and letting the other person go ahead for a while.
Give people a heads up whenever your fuse is running short.
Yeah.
So we understand each other, but it's when it comes out of nowhere that it seems that issues come up. So we do our best to communicate when we're not feeling well and pretty understandable.
I need a break. OSM bars are amazing. Yes. Especially the chocolate ones. They taste like Cocoa Pebbles. So good.
Those are great. What else? It's kiwi-centric.
The bumper bars, I really like them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really interesting experiencing is we've only experienced like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks of backpacking in New Zealand. And what's really cool is like going by a mountain with trees will never be the same to me anymore because when you're in that forest, it feels like you're in another world, like mythical forest with moss everywhere. It just feels like you're in a different world and it's really cool.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
We like it here.
We've seen different terrains. Hiking in the rain is always going to be challenging, I think, but we have moments of like venting and then singing Christmas songs the next moment. So that's how we handle stress.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of cussing.
You have to.
Yeah.
I don't trust someone who just goes through that silently.
Yeah. Somebody is struggling silently. They probably have some stomach issues, I'm guessing. Yeah. Cheers.
That's it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Wish you the best. There was a feeling I would get from backpacking in the past that was something close to euphoric. Up to this point on the TA, that feeling was missing. I don't know if it was the day after day of massive mileage, the poor weather, the rough trails, but I was still optimistic I could capture that feeling again. The Mavora Lakes section was like a breath of fresh air.
Starting this section felt amazing. I was smiling multiple times and loved the views of the lake, the mountains, and just felt physically and mentally refreshed and even a little giddy. Before, we've had gorgeous views in the midst of so much pain, so it was a nice change of pace to take it all in. The sunshine, the views, the trail, practically everything.
This year I'll try to stand up for myself. And this year I'll live like I never lived before. Yeah, this is my year for sure.
At Boundary Hut on our first night on the section, we met an awesome family that was hiking with 2 young children. At that point, they were about 90% done with the TA. They blew us away with their mental and physical toughness, both the kids and the parents. It was hard enough being an adult and just hiking as a couple. We could not help but be impressed. We got word a few weeks later that they completed the journey, and we just wanted to give props to them for being awesome. We captured this picture of them as we parted ways the next morning. We were still relatively new to the hut experience of going the opposite direction of the popular route, so we had to start getting used to the short-lived camaraderie. It was a tough adjustment. Depending on what you as a hiker want to get out of the TA, it's definitely something to consider when you pick your direction. From our perspective, it seemed like there was a higher chance of hiking with a larger group or bouncing back and forth between groups when you hike solo.
This year I'll try to stand up for myself. And this year I'll live like I never lived before. Yeah, this is my year for sure.
A fun, surreal moment that made me feel like I was in an old, cheesy Wild West movie happened while at the Greenstone hut. To help frame this picture, to this point I had a pretty big case of imposter syndrome from talking to Sobos who were nearly done with the trail. They had seen a lot, they'd experienced a lot, and rightfully so, when we would talk about the few days we had experienced, we weren't taken all that seriously. It was also frustrating being on the outside of the hut time conversations, feeling like what I had to say was either not interesting or not important. And when we arrived at Greenstone, we got there when most of the Sobos were just sitting down to eat. We walked in without saying much as we went straight to the bunks to make sure we could claim a spot to sleep. After that, Sarah went to the stream to wash up as I went to cook our supper. By that time, the Sobos had finished eating and started talking about how they didn't think there was anything really difficult left in front of them. They were saying that the sandflies hadn't even been that bad for them on the South Island. Then there I was, sitting in a dark corner, by myself, covered in dust from the trail after a long day's grind. A cigar in my mouth. Well, not really, but that was my moment. I had to speak up. My voice was dry and gravelly as I said, "You haven't been to the Telford campsite yet." The room went silent as all eyes turned to me. I continued. "There were sandflies there like I'd never seen. When we were outside the tent, we couldn't stand still for 2 seconds without being completely covered in the bastards." Their eyes got wide. Could this lowly NoBo actually have useful information for them? This led to a deeper conversation on what we had been through for the last few weeks. It was a great feeling to finally have some trail cred.
During this section, we met another NoBo hiker named Jane, and luckily for us, we made another lifelong friend.
Hello. So, this might look like a regular tent shot of us lying on our mats. So
We got creative.
So well,
we did it.
To quote one of my favorite memes, it was a calculated risk, but man, I'm bad at math. So
and Queenstown is very booked and popular right now because it's summer.
And we got a really good deal on this rental car with a camper in the bed. So we're like, hey, we could just sleep in the camper.
The truck.
And we found a place that let us park here. We have access to their amenities.
We need to make.
But their rules are you can't be seen sleeping, I guess. Like, you have to not be out in the open or the open windows and stuff.
We're gonna make curtains. Oh, and I have a black trash bag, so we're gonna make curtains with grocery paper bags and a trash bag. Well, no problem.
But yeah, let us show you.
Here's the tour. You need to be careful getting up.
That's half of my sleeping mat and a quarter of Sarah's. Can't quite straighten my legs out in here.
And it's gonna rain, so we can't sleep with this open.
Nope. But we do have luxury screened windows
we do, to breathe.
Yeah.
To let some air in. And if we have to pee in the middle of the night.
It's gonna cause a commotion. So
I was scared for a second that we couldn't open.
We can get out at least.
We can get out. It's just, it's gonna be really interesting. So here's if we have to get out in the middle of the night, I hope you can hold it. So, we'll open this. We'll have to open this first, and then open the tailgate.
Or you could crawl over the tailgate.
Our average nightly stay in Queenstown comes out to be really affordable.
Yes.
We'll have this for 3 nights.
3 nights.
All the campsites are booked, mind you. This is what we're doing.
Who would have thought a tent would be more comfortable than what
Out
we're
of a
doing?
truck.
We could at least straighten our legs.
So this is a benefit of being short, okay? Flying and sleeping in the bed of a truck.
It was actually cheaper than setting up our tent at a campsite with some of them.
So yeah, that's true.
So yeah,
That's what we're doing.
we're close to town. We're walking distance.
Yeah, walking is we have a car.
Yeah. We have a car. There's a car in there.
We're in. We'll let you know how. We'll do it after video.
See ya.
I woke up several times in the night with my legs feeling like they were gonna fall off. But yeah, it's nice to be in town. It's nice to be eating like non-dehydrated food. And yeah, the weather's great. Pretty good.
Pretty beautiful. Couple more days of this. We're not enjoying our sleeping arrangement right now, but we're in a really good location, so we'll take it. Till next time.
Hi, my name is Nathalie. I'm from Belgium, and TA for me was like this big, beautiful wild beast that tried to run me over every chance it got. But I loved it anyway.
After being well rested and refreshed, we took a bus to Amosfield Vineyard and hit the trail. It felt great to get our legs moving again, and we enjoyed the smooth trail and beautiful scenery. I just want to emphasize here how awesome and smooth that day was. Little did we know that this would be the last cruisy day for us for a good while. We also got to catch some of the New Zealand Open golf tournament as the trail went right through the middle of the golf course. An usher spotted us and quickly and kindly guided us to continue on the trail toward the golf course's exit because we clearly did not fit in there.
But there, that's the problem.
Depending on how you prep and plan for a thru hike, the way you lay out your daily schedule can be hodgepodge. Being as we are both nerds, we planned our days in a spreadsheet that showed distance and elevation gained and lost. In our spreadsheet, there was a day that stood out and seemed like an anomaly. The distance seemed manageable, but the elevation was over twice the gain of our biggest day so far. To this point, we were so focused on surviving the day-to-day that we didn't really look ahead to see what was to come. Well, that day was finally upon us. We reached the Arrow River and Motutapu trek. The way campsites and huts are laid out in this section gives you flexibility on how to chart your days. Our plan ended up being playing it as we go. We had 4 days of food on us and we would see how far we could make it each day. The first day was essentially climbing straight up and then down a mountain. Then you were given the choice of following the trail on a riverbank that had lots of pointless ups and downs, or PUDs, or we could go through a river upstream for a few miles. We chose the latter after taking in advice from Sobos who had tried both. It was a warm day, and surprisingly enough, the cool water was a relief to our tired feet. However, this route did slow us down considerably, and we ended up needing to camp at the start of the Motutapu trek.
The worst is all the lovely weather. Sad, it's not raining. The coffee isn't even better. Because what's the difference? There's all the work that needs to be done and played for revision. There's all the time and all the planning. The songs to be finished, and it keeps coming, and it keeps coming, and it keeps coming to the day it stops, and it keeps coming, and it keeps coming, and it keeps coming to the day it stops, and it keeps coming, 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 and it keeps coming to the day it stops.
The second day of this section ended up being the most physically challenging day of the entire TA. In front of us, we had 3 steep mountains that in the TA fashion were straight up and straight down. We started the day with an early morning frigid river crossing, then started straight up our first mountain. There was no nice gradual introduction to the Motutapu Mountains. Once we descended the mountains, we were greeted with about 10 steps of flat ground until we started straight up the next one. Towards the end, we had gotten so delirious that we couldn't tell if an object ahead was a stile or a hut in the distance. This section did offer some of the most iconic scenery that the TA has to offer, though. We just could not slow down or look up too long to enjoy it for fear of tripping over a rock or having to hike in the dark before reaching the hut. Even though this section was really physically challenging, it was quite enjoyable and our spirits remained pretty high. So today we did the hardest peak of this section. It was very painful. Definitely had to focus on one step at a time. I would look ahead of me and it was too much. While over here, taking a break. Enjoying this breeze, which is also really cold since we're really sweaty. But we did it. Halfway there.
We are starting morning 19 off at the break of dawn in the pouring rain. But we do go to civilization, so that's a plus. We'll see how it goes. Making my way downtown.
Casio, playing on my heart just like a Casio, breaking it apart so you can let it go.
Alright, so we continue this rainy journey through the forest.
So wet.
So wet.
So much mud.
How you doing,
better
Tosh?
with the roots.
Yeah, just wetness. Fun. Slipping and sliding down a mountain. Very, very fun.
Tell you that it wasn't real. And I just wanna tell you this is how I feel. I know you feel it. When all your dreams are gone, and you're still holding on. You waited for too long, so I know you know the song. Casio, playing on my heart.